Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. This is the third in a series that I am dedicating to the SPICES concept in Scouting. For those who don't know, SPICES is a framework for all areas of Scouting designed to encourage personal development. To quote directly from the Scouts Australia webpage, the key areas of social, physical, intellectual, emotional and spiritual make up the fundamental basis of a person's character. Obviously, this can be tailored to suit each group and section, but the overall aim is to encourage those key areas of personal development. So today we're going to be discussing the physical aspect of SPICES. I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory. Physical is about getting fit and staying healthy and being adventurous. Basically, we've got to get out and get active. As a military man, Lord Baden-Powell appreciated exercise. If you Google Baden-Powell exercise, it will actually come up with a YouTube video of the man himself doing his morning exercise routine. Baden-Powell needed men who were in top physical condition, and quite frankly, a big part of the original Scouting movement was about getting the boys into that peak physical condition and having the skills in order to prepare for a life in the army. Scouting for Boys was written because his original training manual that he wrote for the army became a bestseller in Britain, and parents and teachers were writing to him saying, "My kids love this, I need to continue this, how do we continue this?" So he wrote that and he developed a movement. When advising young men in Rovering to success, he suggests that the best way to spend one's time is to spend it on a true sport. By true sport, I mean any kind of game or activity that does you good and which you play yourself. An example he provided was mountaineering, which I find really interesting given the parallel between 100 years ago and now. Mountaineering has always been a bit of a scouting activity. However, I feel like in the past few years, in my cohort at least, it's taken off a little bit. And with the popularization of indoor rock climbing, I know a lot of people who enjoy it as a serious hobby now. Baden-Powell believed that the young men of Britain just didn't do enough exercise. He attributed this to the increase in city living and factory workers, suggesting that those with more leisure time had more opportunity to run, as did the people in the country. In the early days of Scouting, the chief commissioners would hold contests and test the fitness of the boys and judge how well they had been trained by the outcome of those contests. I would have stayed home on those nights. Oh man, I hated the beep test in school. Absolutely hated it. I would not have showed up to those nights. As rovers, we have the opportunity to earn our physical badge. This badge is earned by the rover taking part in a physical activity for at least 6 months. They begin with a measured standard and must demonstrate a significant improvement in order to achieve the award. The rover must complete either the undertaking of a physical/sporting activity or embark on a physical journey of at least 3 nights over 4 days, or 2 journeys each extending over 48 hours, each with 2 nights out. This encourages rovers to increase their physical activity, but as with all badges, it requires people to seek it out for themselves, which can be hard to do if you work or study full-time. The Australian Department of Health recommends approximately 30 minutes of exercise a day, or 2.5 to 5 hours of exercise a week. This is classified as moderate to vigorous activity, or activities that get your heart rate up, such as dancing, running, or cycling. But the department also estimates that 60% of Australian adults do less than that recommended number. Studies have shown that adults can spend an average of 39 hours a week on sedentary activity, with close to 10 hours of that being at work. And that doesn't include people employed in traditionally more sedentary occupations, such as administration or clerical work. If you are in those industries, you are likely to spend an average of 22 hours a week sitting down for work. So, while young adults are more likely to take part in organised sports and activities, it can still be really difficult to get that exercise in. And sometimes you just need a little bit of inspiration. And that's what I'm here for. I've compiled a short list of activities for rover nights that you and your crew can do. Group boot camp. Set up an obstacle course outside using what you have on hand. This can include tyres, poles and rope to challenge ourselves. Swimming. Organise a trip to a swimming centre. Challenge each other to races, see how many laps you can do, play a game of water polo or just tread water for a while. Dance class. There are a lot of classes around that encourage large groups to join. Try out hip-hop, jazz or even swing dancing. Community workouts. In the summer, some councils will offer free community classes such as yoga or personal training. Join one of these and see who can keep up with the PT. Organise a bike hike. Get out your map, dust off your old bike and go for a ride. Just don't be like me and attempt some 60-kilometre trip on your decade-old bike that you haven't ridden in over 2 years. And while you're at it, why not invite other crews to join you? Laser tag. Challenge another crew to a few rounds of laser tag. Wide games. Games such as Capture the Flag allow for a fun but slightly competitive evening. Disco. Hold a disco night. Set the music to the Rover Spotify track, dim the lights, and break out the glow sticks. Rock climbing. This can be done as a solo crew night, but it's the perfect opportunity for meeting up with another crew to do something a little different. Scout games night. Throw it back to when you were 12 years old and revive the old games. Stuck in the Mud, Tag, and Capture the Flag were some of the favourites of my old pack, but you might have different choices. Go for nostalgia and marvel at the fitness that you had as a kid. Baden Powell used examples of his sporting interests as an example of enjoying life. While I can't say that hunting or playing polo is my cup of tea, I'm a firm believer in enjoying your exercise. You're not going to catch me at a gym, ever. I don't enjoy it, I won't go. But you'll probably find me at a community dance class or at a trapeze class. The good thing about doing a night based on physical activity is that it gives people the comfort of exercising with their friends, and it gives a really good opportunity to create a positive atmosphere around exercise, which can sometimes be sorely lacking. If my suggestions aren't your cup of tea, feel free to leave a comment below on what you would prefer to do instead. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Maybe it's given you some ideas on rover nights, a little insight into Baden Powell's opinion on exercise, and maybe you learnt a thing or two that you didn't already know. I'll see you next time, and don't forget to be prepared.